The saddest thing about a hero's journey is that it always comes to an end. Thank you to our $5 patron, Sinners Lancelot, Art Goon, and Praise the Sun. And a big thank you to our $25 patron, the Mr. Greed. Now, before we hop into this breakdown / discussion about the end of My Hero Academia, please if you ever leave your own thoughts on the ending of My Hero Academia or the near ending of My Hero Academia in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I'm with the Pencil here, and here we are to talk about the oncoming end of My Hero Academia. And overall, I feel like I should be sadder. I don't know. Like I was scrolling through the channel, right? Like I do this. I'm still updating everything. I'm still doing a whole bunch of stuff with the channel. So obviously, I spend a lot of time just making sure that video is good. And I realized My Hero Academia is a pretty hefty part of the channel. Like one of its review series, I currently have around 600 videos up. About a 10th of the channel is My Hero Academia reviews only. Not even like actual My Hero Academia separate content, which I've done a bunch of too, but My Hero Academia reviews. And that's a lot. So I feel like My Hero Academia is a big part of the channel. It's a big part of why I enjoy reviewing stuff, because it's one of the series that started me to do that consistently and got me into that role. So I feel like I owe My Hero Academia a lot more, but I feel at the same time, it's like, I'm not sad to see it go. And it's not, because initially I was thinking like, oh, am I sad to see it go because I don't like the way the narrative's going? But notably, there have been many a time in My Hero Academia, ever since I started reading it, like, no, I believe I got, I remember the overhaul arc coming out week by week. That's how long I've been reading it. So however many, I believe the overhaul arc is in like the 120, 130 ranges. Like that's where my memory starts to read the My Hero Academia manga. I think it was sometime around season 2, when season 2 is out. So that's how far back my memory goes with it. So it's been a series that I've been with for a while. But I guess the reason I'm not sad to see it go, and the reason I bring that up is like, initially, I thought it was just, Pencil, you just don't like the way the story's going. Obviously, it ain't your cup of tea anymore. So you're just like, fine, let it end. But not even that. I think because there are times where I sat through the manga week by week, especially the joint training arc. I'm not gonna lie. No matter what, I know people have justifications for the arc. Why it's great, why it's amazing. And I completely respect that. Couldn't disagree more. So, like, there were times where I just sat through My Hero Academia, even if I didn't like it, just because I think the art's beautiful. I'm still interested in these characters. I'm still invested in the storyline. I'm still invested in all this stuff. So it's not even that I would love it if My Hero Academia was One Piece. Like, it kept going. Like, heck, we got My Hero Academia 2, My Hero, and we just dropped the Academia. Like, I'd be fine with that. I would love it if Horikoshi could draw this manga forever. However, at the same time, I guess the main reason I'm not too pressed on seeing it leave, it's just for the fact that I feel like Horikoshi's earned it, right? Because he's a guy who has been in Jump before, and I always bring up his previous series, or at least the only one I've read. He has another one that I still haven't sat down and read yet, but his previous series, Ogunamaki Zoo, is something that I really enjoy. And I enjoy My Hero Academia, but it's weird when you can, and the thing is, right, I cannot tell this. I cannot, like, definitively say, my psychic senses are going off. Horikoshi's tired. No, it's just, I look at all the My Hero Academia stuff that is out. How much of a titan that was. No one knew what Ogunmakizu was. No one knew who Horikoshi was before My Hero Academia. That's it. That's just a simple fact. If you say you did, shout outs to you. You are a deep Shonen Jump fan. But at least personally, and when I look up things about Horikoshi, everything's My Hero Academia. And while that is a blessing in the sense that he has one of the most popular anime-manga series to come out in recent history, rivaling the likes of Demon Slayer, AOT, other popular anime-manga, but like it's up there. It's a popular series. It's doing great. All the merch, all the movies, all the anime, the manga, everything's doing amazing. It's doing great in sales. It's top 5, I think. I'm pretty sure it's top 5, and if not top 5, easily top 10. So in terms of just sales alone, but we got to realize Horikoshi's still just a dude. At the end of all things, Horikoshi is a dude. And he's not a dude that gets to do what I do, sit here and talk about other people's work and other people's creations and judge the merchandise and stuff that comes out. He's a dude that has to make it all. He has to design these characters. He has to draw them every week. He has to do all this himself. I know he has assistants. He likely has people that do a lot of the marketing stuff for him. But at the end of the day, it all goes back to him. And the entire world of My Hero Academia and all the things that tie into that world, they're all Horikoshi. It all traces back to him. And I know, never met the guy in my life. I may have watched one interview with him in it, but I can just, if I were in that situation, I'd be tired. And notably, I love doing what I do. And I'm sure Horikoshi loves to do what he does, but at the same time, love has limits. So in terms of how much that man has to do for his series, for his baby, essentially, it's a child that's gotten too big to take care of. It's something he needs to let go. I can't imagine having to design villains and side characters for a new movie every year. Possibly have to write scripts for them, create characters for that. At the same time, you're publishing the manga every weekend. At the same time, you got Studio Bones ringing you up, talking about the changes they need to make to your original story. At the same time, you're getting all these critiques from people like me. You're getting all this stuff. At the same time, you're being badgered by public expectations and to your widest audiences like America and Japan. He goes through a lot. And I'm glad that this ending is allowing him to just put a bookend on it. Honestly, if you were to ask me, I'd say, if you were to ask me, really, I would probably say the war arc. Yeah, I'd say in the middle of the serialization of the war arc, and I think you can no, because towards the when I started reviewing the series week by week, I think I'd already gotten past that point, but in the middle of the Hawks fight, if you were to ask me where I thought My Hero Academia was in terms of its story continuity, I would have told you halfway. I literally would have expected you can even hear me say it in some of my old reviews. If you go back and listen to some of those things, you will hear me badgering, screaming, scratching, chomping at the bit for a massive time skip. That's what it seems like it was building up to. It felt like the Paranormal Liberation War was not the beginning of the end, but the beginning of a new era. But I think drawing the Paranormal Liberation War, writing the Paranormal Liberation War, getting all the different reactions, all the stuff he had to do with that, I think it allowed Horikoshi to realize that he just, see, the weird thing is I don't want to say he doesn't have the stamina for it. I obviously he can take breaks. I'm confident Horikoshi has a lot more power at, I was going to say Shueisha, at Shonen Jump than your average mangaka. Obviously, his series, Gege's series, and heck, Kotoge Sensei's series, they're the big breadwinners for Shonen Jump right now. While Dragon Ball's away, while One Piece is just a constant titan that's moving on. The big breadwinners are your My Hero Academians. So he obviously could just do what he's doing. Take a break. Tabata's left for 3 months. But that's because he's able to. They know his series is good enough that people will not just stop reading it. People will allow him to take that 3-month break, and he'll be able to come back just fine. So reasonably, Horikoshi could do the exact same thing. But he just doesn't want to. I think at the end of the day, if I had to tell me why I'm not sad that My Hero Academia is ending, it's because I believe Horikoshi has, one, earned it. He needs his rest, and two, just the rest in general. The man's tired. At the end of all things, with all he must do on a daily basis, he's got to be tired. So I don't blame him. Let him have his little horror manga. If you're wondering, I'm not reviewing. I don't read horror. There's some things I just don't do. Some people have recommended me horror manga. Not my thing. So don't ever expect a review from me from that. So that's not gonna happen. However, I have peak lock. What I hope y'all realize, the moment one of the series ends, peak lock's getting reviewed weekly. It's gonna happen. It's taking all my willpower right now to not review peak lock right this minute. Trust me. However, regardless of that, the more important thing is Horikoshi deserves his rest. So there we go. That's external narrative stuff about the ending. Bada bing, bada boom. However, obviously, while I'm fine with that ending, and I'm not sad to see it go, how satisfying do I think the ending is going to be? Do I think the ending's gonna be satisfying? I think it'll suck. No, I'm kidding. I mean, it shouldn't suck, but I don't think it's gonna be the best. But you know what is the best? The like button. The like button is free. I really appreciate you hitting that. It would help out a lot. It helps out the channel a lot. It helps me out a lot. It's great. And also, the subscribe button is free too. If you're new here and you just haven't stumbled across this video, hit the subscribe button. It helps out a lot. You know, I mean, we're on the road to 10K. But regardless of that, in terms of the narrative that's been set up here, I know there are going to be a lot of people who are satisfied, but I don't like, in the same way that Horikoshi's tired, I think he's like, and once again, this isn't even a Horikoshi thing. I don't think Horikoshi's confused, and I'm confident he's had to change the ending. So something is told, like, I look at certain things that Horikoshi did in the past, and I look at certain things that Horikoshi does now, and I'm like, that doesn't fit. like the flip-flopping with Dabi's narrative, the flip-flopping with Toga's narrative, the flip-flopping with Shigaraki's narrative, bringing all for one back. Like, there's so many weird things that have happened recently, and some of them have led to good things. Like I said, I love All for One now, because he's a goon. He's a menace to society, quite literally, physically, mentally, and sociologically. He's a demon. I love it. But why, like, essentially, there are things that don't make sense. Like, why do you build up this dual narrative of the greatest hero being born through the ashes and remnants of the previous greatest hero, and then you have the greatest villain being born out of the ashes of the previous greatest villain, and then suddenly the previous ashes of the greatest villain come back and take over the new one, but not really take over? Like, why? Like, does that? I gotta make a whole video talking about that weird narrative choice, because I have to, but it doesn't make sense. You have the possibility to make Dabi a really sympathetic character with this deep and complex nature on how he hates his father for what he did because of the implications of negativity in the past of his life before it was revealed, and you have him set up for this really simple but still really effective victim story, like this narrative where he was turned into a monster by his father and the abuse and of his family and stuff like that. Like, you have a good narrative built up there, but no, in actuality, he was just crazy, and his dad actually treated him right, and it was actually him that caused the abusive household for the rest of his family. Why do that? Toga, a nutcase girl who likes to drink blood. But no, apparently she deserves her own happiness in form of love, even though her own form of love would destroy the people and she would eventually run out of love. Like, the confusion on the villain side of the narrative is likely a byproduct of the critiques over in Japan. Because notably, I don't have sources. I listen to Oceanus, guys, darn it. I trust what he says. But I've heard repeatedly, not just from him, from a bunch of YouTubers, that, like, in Japan, the villains aren't they aren't a fan favorite like they are in America. Like, a lot of people in America love the villains. It's great. Like, they're like, man, villain evil. Like, it's great. We love it. I think that's mainly because of, like, our previous culture, like Batman villains. Like, people like Batman, but you love the Joker. People like Superman, but they like Lex Luthor. People like Wonder Woman, but what are Wonder Woman's villains? Cheetah. We have a much more, like, balanced side, and villains are in a similar way that they're trying to be portrayed by academia. They're characters too. They aren't just things to be knocked over. But in Japan, they don't have that same thing. It's different. So I get what Horikoshi's doing, but because of that, the internal consistencies of his own writing and his own narrative doesn't work. It's just weird, and I can't give him a pass for that. And I don't think, honestly, at this rate, with every single one of these characters, I'm firmly set on the fact that they all need to go. However, our characters aren't even set on that. Speaking of, let's talk about the heroes. Talk about the villains and how weird and flip-floppy they are. The only one I can really give a direct pass to is, like, Todoroki, Shoto. Like, but even that, that's kind of weird. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I get why he's trying to save Dabi, because Dabi is his literal flesh and blood brother. But on multiple occasions, Dabi has tried to off you. You were fresh out, your mama, and he tried to end you. But you want to save him? Your family wants to take responsibility. Like, the thing, I don't know. Shoto, he isn't tied into his villain, so that fight doesn't even make sense to me. Like, he's tied by blood, but he doesn't know Dabi from a can of paint. Let's be real. Dabi was gone. Like, he was literally isolated from his family because of Dabi, and thus he never even grew a connection with him. It would make more sense if it never was there. Not happening. we have the whole Uraraka and Toga situation. Uraraka, y'all know how I feel about Uraraka. And if you don't, because you're new here, I don't like her. Because she's fundamentally useless, if not a negative detriment to the narrative. Do I need to make Uraraka's bad part too? I kind of want to wait until the Toga fight's over before I do that, because hopefully she'll do something there. But essentially, Uraraka has never been given enough poignant weight in the narrative. She never had a solo victory, or even like a real, I mean, the megaphone speech is a victory, quote unquote. But I still think that whole point was stolen. Sure, she got the attention of the civilians and she got the star-headed guy to speak up, but what would have been more point? I've done this so many times, but essentially, all of whatever success Uraraka has had is devalued because it's not her own success. It's success that is either taken by someone else or built upon by someone else, and or she's just failed a bunch. And she's failed a bunch. And so far, her whole narrative, I need to understand and save Himiko, the crazy serial eater. Like you, why? Like, I don't, once again, don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And the final biggest culprit, Izuku Midoriya. And I know, here it is, because I've seen it before, I've seen it in my comment section, I've seen it in other comment section, I've seen it in my TikTok comment section. Go ahead, pop over there. We got a daily comment. You want like videos, get 4 videos a day over there. So go check out the TikTok, we link down below. But regardless, I've seen it everywhere. But Pencil, listen to me, you foolish, I can't say that. That was so close to that joke, but I won't. But like, you foolish imbecile. He said he's okay with getting rid of Shigaraki. The fact that it's even in his mind because of made the argument millions of times before. I have a whole video out there on it, defending the child. Go check it out. I may even put it in the card if I remember to. If editing me, well, not even editing me, uploading me remembers to do it. But the thing is, we are so close, so ever close to a conclusion that would have made sense beforehand. Midoriya in the war was not trying to save Shigaraki. He was trying to beat the life out of the man because he committed multiple acts of major unaliving. As he should. Like, legitimately, the fact that All For One lived is a fumble on All Might's part. That man should be in the afterlife. But regardless of that, the point is, he sees one crying child, has no idea what the interpretation of that crying child could mean because children are weird, and decides, you know what, I'm going to try and save that crying child, even though that crying child is the equivalent of a mass serial unaliver. This doesn't make sense. I don't know. And those are our 3 main characters. Both our 3 main villains and our 3 main heroes. And in context, they either don't make sense character-wise, they don't make sense logic-wise, or they don't make sense within the own narratives that Horikoshi himself has built up. For the narrative one, it doesn't make sense. Well, no, mostly it's logic. Like, I'll be completely real. No, narrative-wise, it doesn't make sense for Shigaraki to be taken over by All For One. Narrative-wise, it also doesn't make sense that Midoriya, who in just the previous war, like a few months ago, was trying to execute Shigaraki, and suddenly now he wants to save him because he saw a crying child. And then, it doesn't make sense character-wise for Todoroki to be fighting Dabi when it should be Endeavor fighting Dabi. Well, Pencil, you didn't need him for All For One. Man, I don't care. Like, the narrative that's been set up there doesn't, it's not lining up. And then logic-wise, it doesn't make sense to save any of these mass serial unalivers. It just doesn't. Like, justify that thing. Do any of those people deserve to be saved? Does the Joker deserve to be saved? And another comment I see is like, well, you're okay with Batman? No, I'm not. I'm not okay with Batman doing that. I think Batman saving any of his serial unaliver ones, like Spinner works for, like, it's weird to say, like, but essentially, I don't think any of the villains deserve to be saved. Like, simply input, once you've decided to devalue other people's lives and take them, you gotta hold that. Like that's a decision you can't just double back on. You can't be like, oopsie, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I have a crying child inside me. Ooh, you wanna save me? Ah. No, you need to go. Like, now. Like, I don't. That's the thing. I don't get it. None of that makes sense to me. And that's the thing. Those are the 3 core plots of our narrative. There's nothing left outside of the All For One / One For All plot, which is tie into the the Deku Shigaraki fight. Other than the Gaslight Girl Boss Gatekeep side of the fight, which is the Uraraka and Toga part, there's nothing left outside of that. And the B plot of the entire narrative is the Todoroki family. There's nothing outside of that. Like, there's nothing left. Like there's no other parts except for like individual character endings that is left for me to enjoy, or not left for me to find satisfying. The only way those could have been good, and the narrative would have been chef's kiss satisfying, is if the like button was pressed, and also the subscribe button, since they're both free, and they help me out a lot. They help out the channel a lot too. But regardless, no. But essentially, the main parts of the narrative, I don't see a way they could be satisfying. Like the only way is gonna sound ominous and metal, but the only way that the narrative could be satisfying is if every single one of the heroes realizes, well, I did my best. Well, but even then, I don't really think that is a part that I'll never forgive. But the idea that in the end, the sirens go off, but in the end, they just decide, you know what, sucks to suck, you gotta die, and then they just get rid of the villains. There we go. That's a all right, satisfying. Well, no, that's a good ending, and that's legitimately a good ending because they matured and they realized they can't be like previous heroes constantly sparing these guys. Bada bing, bada boom. But I don't think that's going to happen. So, and then we just got Villain Palooza. And so, I mean, this is the thing. It'll be fine, but it'll be like a 6 out of 10. I like the fights. I like the art. I like probably some individual character stuff, but the end of My Hero Academia, it doesn't excite me as much as it did. Like, I can't think, like the last time, no, it was in the war arc. Seeing Midoriya break in the war arc is still probably one of, if not, I really like Endeavor. So like, it is one of my favorite character moments, and easily top 3 moments of the entire series. Seeing him finally break and go nuts against Shigaraki, that chef's kiss, I love that. That's great. That's peak. That's peak right there. Keep it peak. Keep it peak. But in the same vein, I just don't expect it to be. That sounds so bad, right? Like, I don't expect it to be peak. I expect it to be trash. But in the way, I don't expect it to be peak. I expect it to be trash. Like, legitimately, I don't know. There's no way I can see Horikoshi spinning the narrative at this point with everything that he's built up. And then, like, he's done build up. Then he did counter build up. So if he tries to go with the original build up, it'll feel like it's a waste of the counter build up. Like, essentially, he's in an okay sandwich at this point. There's no way I can see Horikoshi spinning the narrative that doesn't contradict some kind of build up. So, and I guess for the rest of the end, like, I don't know, I've been clamoring for a time skip. So like a jump to the future to see everyone. I actually like I can't spoil that because that's the anime. I don't even think, we're nowhere near the anime, so let me not. But there's a certain series that also recently ended. I still need to review Dr. Stone's ending. I forgot. Like, that kind of just ended. I kind of let it die. But regardless of that, MHA ending, mostly indifferent. That's how I think I'm going to feel towards it. I'm happy for Horikoshi. I think he needs a nap. I think he needs to go back to loving what he does again and just have something where he won't be critiqued and stuff like that, and we can just leave him be and embrace peak clock. But in that same juicy vein, I still believe oppositely we aren't gonna have that satisfactory ending. At least for me. I don't like. The weird thing is, like, notably every time I speak in my videos, I speak for me. I speak on my own thoughts and ideas. So I know there are other people who are going to lose their minds and bust everywhere, paint their entire room white, because they're gonna love when Shigaraki gets saved, they're gonna love when Toga is redeemed, they're gonna love when Dabi gets new skin. Like, they're gonna love all that. Me though, not my cup of tea. However, those are my thoughts, and this is why I ask y'all to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please tell me what you think about My Hero Academia's ending. Tell me how excited you are for it. If you aren't excited for it, just your general thoughts on everything, from characters to story stuff to narrative stuff to Horikoshi stuff, like all that. Tell me that in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, anyway, Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.